This is another one of those sad situations where I have to admit Twitch chat was right and I look like a bumbling imbecile now. About a month ago, chat was trying to convince me that there was a viral TikTok challenge that was getting people to steal cars and sometimes crash them for views, and I wrote that off as a bunch of baloney. I said, I doubt that's an actual trend, probably just one stupid asshole did it, called it a challenge, and no one ever followed. But it turns out I was wrong. Not only is this boogeyman real, but it actually has led to the death of 4 teenagers this week. Somehow, the challenges continue to get more and more brain dead and dangerous. This generation of Tide Pod eating and hurting yourself for views on TikTok is reaching an absolutely absurd level of wildness. So, it's called the Kia Challenge. It's also not really a challenge, it's more of just a ruin your life speedrun tutorial. Basically, the only goal to be completed with the Kia Challenge is to steal a car and post yourself stealing the car on TikTok. It honestly sounds like it's something made by the CIA to catch potential car thieves. You're fucking instructing them to post evidence of their crime online, making it the easiest slam dunk arrest ever. But anyway, the Kia Challenge was videos that were teaching others how to steal Kias and Hyundais specifically, because of a massive vulnerability in many models from Kia and Hyundai. For Kia vehicles, many of them built from 2011 to 2021 have this problem, and for Hyundais, those built from 2015 to 2021 also have this problem. I'm not here to teach you how to do it, I'm not your Thieves Guild sensei, but I will tell you, it is shockingly fucking easy. It's mind-blowing how stupid and simple it is. These cars are more insecure than me going through puberty. They basically steal themselves, honestly. It takes seconds, like actual seconds. Not even like mini seconds, like maybe 2 or 3 tops. It's fucking baffling, honestly. So, since this challenge went viral, there's been this massive increase in thefts with Kia and Hyundais. And this week it led to 4 teenagers dying. In a few of the Kia Challenge videos that are still available online, the people in them were driving recklessly, and in a couple of them even crash. However, this one happened to be a fatal single-car accident, killing 4 of the passengers here, and now the driver's facing a felony charge. Pretty sad story all around, and it all stems from a little TikTok trend. Just when you thought we'd seen the dumbest trends from that platform with like devious licks and shit like that, they've gone even harder now. But I think it's very important we discuss what a massive fuck up this is from Kia and Hyundai. How in the world, 2,000 years after the death of Jesus, with all the technology we have now, how can you have this massive vulnerability? It's obviously a massive problem here, so much so that they have now been served a class action lawsuit as of late September, because these vehicles that they manufactured during the time periods I listed don't have immobilizers on them, which, as I understand, is standard among pretty much all the other automobiles out there. I'm not much of a car guy. I don't know too much about that shit. I know more about the anatomy of a fucking alien than I would a car's engine and what goes into vehicles. But according to the lawsuit, the engine immobilizers are crucial, and they've come at Kia and Hyundai for not having them, stating that they valued profits over safety and security of their customers. And it also outlines just how big of a problem it's become. It is just an absolute epidemic with all of these car thefts with the Kia and Hyundai models here, and it all ties back to the lack of engine immobilizer, as I understand it. And it seems like this was a massive blunder here, because all the extra doubloons they were able to squeeze out of their profit margins is all about to whittle away here and probably end in some net loss with this class action lawsuit. It's a huge deal, obviously. And just a really sad trend all around, since it ended in the death of 4 teenagers who probably wouldn't have stolen this car if they weren't fed the information on how to do it, as well as also fed the idea that by doing it, they'd gain TikTok clout. I believe at the time, and according to this article, the Kia Challenge category on TikTok, like the trend where all of these things lived, had 5.9 billion views across all of the videos there. Now, of course, not all of them were views on videos of people actually stealing the cars. A lot of them were people talking about how dangerous the challenge is. But there was, of course, quite a few videos actually showcasing just the blatant theft of Kias and Hyundais in there, in the Kia Boys area. And just fucking awful stuff. TikTok cracked down on it and banned those accounts and shut all of the Kia Boys, Kia Challenge stuff down, but even still, you can still find quite a few of them, and it clearly does still exist in some capacity because this only happened this week. So it's still a rather popular idea, even if not like a direct trend on TikTok anymore. So just wanted to talk about this a little bit since this was just a situation where I was just absolutely wrong when Twitch chat was bringing me some new information here that I just refused to believe. It was so outlandish I didn't believe it. I didn't think anyone would ever actually start a trend of just crime, and I was proven wrong. And it's very sad. Not sad about me. Going to a gender reveal party is like taking your family to Chernobyl. Everyone's at risk of dying. Gender reveal parties these days is basically just acts of terrorism to reveal the gender of your upcoming baby, whether it's starting legendary wildfires in California or just straight up killing your relatives with pipe bombs. It's just absolute chaos. I've been very outspoken against gender reveal parties. I'm like mothers against drunk driving, but for gender reveal parties. Fucking gamers against gender reveal parties. I feel like people should know by now that they're not that special. Your family, your friends, and especially the internet doesn't give that much of a fuck about the gender of your upcoming baby. So just give them the news plainly so they can pretend to be excited and happy for you like everybody else. And if you want to get real wacky, goofy, and silly, bake a cake pink or blue if you want to. I mean, that's simple and it's harmless. Except with gender reveal parties, I guarantee they'd use like fucking rat poisoning for the food dye and end up killing their whole family revealing the gender with a cake. You can't trust someone that wants to reveal the gender of their baby in a grand, dangerous way, because they're psychopaths. In fact, I even looked this up. You are twice as likely to die at a gender reveal party than you are swimming in shark-infested water. There have been 2 shark attack deaths in 2021, whereas there's been 4 gender reveal deaths in 2021. This is becoming a big statistic. Like, you know, you used to read that shit about a vending machine falling on someone and killing them, and it turns out, like, well, this happens quite a bit, like, 15, 20 deaths a year. Gender reveals are about to make that look like child's play. People are fucking dropping like flies at these parties. And the fucking worst part about it is, the deaths are always like this Looney Tunes fucking Wile E. Coyote kind of thing. Like, one of them this year was a family shot a fucking cannon at their friend and killed them. Like, it's terrible stuff. The reason I'm talking about it is because yesterday there were 2 more deaths at a gender reveal party with a plane crashing. A family hired a plane and a crew to fly around doing an aerial acrobatics show while dropping colored smoke in a banner to reveal the baby's gender to the family that was watching from a boat. And while doing these stunts, they nosedived into the ocean, and the one person on board died on impact, and then someone else died after they were picked up by the rescue team and given first aid. I'll show a clip of them flying around. I'm obviously not going to show the crash, but you can see just how fucking dangerous this shit is.
El niño. Rosa.
It's absolutely horrifying and extremely sad with such an easy to avoid circumstance. Just don't do this kind of crazy dangerous shit to reveal the gender of your baby. It's so fucking trivial. People don't care. Your friends that go wild pumping their fist, whoa, good work, you fucked your wife and now you got a girl on the way, woohoo! They're just putting on an act to make you feel better. They don't care. They're not gonna go home and talk about it for the next week like, man, I can't believe they're having a girl. This is fucking incredible. And the way they revealed it with the magician making the Statue of Liberty disappear and then reappear covered in pink dust, man, I'm gonna be thinking about that for months now. People don't give a fuck. It's this narcissistic attitude, like wanting to be this center of attention, like, look at this, we're having a boy. So we're gonna burn down all of California to celebrate, which is what happened last year. Well, fucking one of the largest wildfires in history was started because of a gender reveal gone wrong. Like, the amount of death and destruction these fucking stupid parties hold is wild. Woo! Our baby's gonna have a penis, he's gonna have a fucking dick! To celebrate, I'm gonna fire this fully loaded cannon at Great Aunt Mildred. Brace for impact. Like, to be honest, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the fucking meteor that took out the dinosaurs was actually just an alien revealing the gender of their baby and using Earth as a way of doing that. Like, it's crazy. Like, they keep ramping up in danger. Like, pretty soon, gender reveal parties are just gonna be families open firing on each other using pink or blue guns. It's fucking weird, it's stupid, and it's so easily preventable. You don't have to kill your friends and family revealing your baby's gender. You can just bake a cake if you want to get real wacky. Like, it's that simple. It's gonna have the same effect. And I can promise you, the internet doesn't fucking care how big your gender reveal party is. No one gives a fuck. Like, a lot of them do it for internet points because for some reason some people cheer them on just trying to make them feel better, but don't. You're encouraging awful behavior. It's so fucking sad. It's so dumb. So just a little friendly advice to anyone considering throwing a party for the reveal of their baby's gender. Maybe just use pink or blue lollipops. Be like, surprise! Lollipops are blue, it's a boy, and then people clap, and then, no one dies. Unless, of course, you've dipped those lollipops in the fucking cyanide or something, but you probably wouldn't do that. Like, there's just play it safe, Or just don't bother at all, because again, Call of Duty, it's a shit franchise with a shittier community, and now they've helped murder an innocent man. So this is a story I've been following since the first reports of a suspected death via swatting were reported on, and I'm sure some of you have already heard it by now, but it's something I want to talk about. So this sad story goes, two man-children named Vaporize and Cole, and I know upon hearing these abysmal names you asked yourself, are these 8-year-olds that this story is about? No, these are not 8-year-olds that those names belong to. Those names belong to adults. And these two adults had a Call of Duty wager match for $1.50. They were really throwing the wood down that night, high stakes gambling, and they lost the match. They were on the same team and they got mad at each other and they blamed each other for the loss and they started going at it. No, my dick's 3 inches hard, so I have the bigger penis. Who cares if you have the bigger penis? A girl laughed at me once, and then eventually it escalates to the point where Vaporizer gets in contact with an even bigger virgin, the chief virgin. His name is Swatistic, and he had been known for swatting things like MLG matches and shit, just really sad, pathetic stuff. And this human catheter did an interview on YouTube talking about this. I still watched it because I wanted to hear what a swatter sounded like, and it's exactly like what you'd expect, just as pathetic as you'd imagine.
Right, do you take any responsibility for what happened?
The argument can be made that the police would have never showed up if I didn't make the call. However, I don't believe that I'm the only guilty party involved in this whole incident, considering I was contacted and, almost instructed to SWAT and taunted to SWAT an address. I mean, of course, if you want to, you could say that, of course, I was involved. However, other people were involved. Yeah, the call was made by me, but as far as the whole incident, you could point the finger at numerous people.
It's amazing how you can actually hear the back acne in this kid's voice. And the way he talks, it's like he took pages right out of the Tumblr experts playbook, like the fucking incel section of Tumblr who gives advice on what to do when faced with authorities. He just, allegedly, well, I guess you could look at it that way. Well, one could say I had access to, due to multiple interpretations, there's a multitude of factors at play. I suppose you could, deduce that I pushed him into the shark-infested waters, but it was the shark that killed him, not me. And it's sad that I have to compare sharks to cops, because sharks aren't even out for as much blood as cops are. But anyway, once Vaporize gets in contact with Swatistic, they attempt to dox and swat Miracle, but Miracle, in an attempt to prove that his cock is 3 inches hard, reaches out to Swatistic and says, "Here's my address, swat me, pussy boy," and here's the tweet. So he does, he swats that address, but Miracle, being the brave man he is, gives an address that isn't his, belongs to an innocent man who gets killed by the cops when they show up. In his interview with Keemstar, the kid shows no remorse at all, nor does he take any responsibility, and passes the blame off onto the other two kids, and I do agree, they have a big part to play in this. I think all three of them should have the same sentence, which is life in prison, because they contribute absolutely nothing to society. They fucking have Call of Duty wager matches for $1.50 and then kill an innocent man over it. What good do they bring to society? They're just downright sociopaths. None of them felt any empathy for what happened. It wasn't just the kid who actually called the SWAT. Miracle, the one who gave that address, was laughing about it on Twitter. vaporizers not to be heard from. They all deleted their accounts and shit. But I really don't think it can be that difficult to find out who these 3 dudes are. The fucking NSA can watch me jerk off in the middle of my kitchen through my coffee maker. How can they not find who owns these horrible Twitter accounts with these horrible fucking names? And now I'd like to talk directly to the people who say, well, it's not their fault, it's the cop who killed him's fault. No, it's definitely their fault. That wouldn't have happened if they didn't call the police. But the police are also very much to blame here. So, according to the family, what happened is the police were banging on the door, the husband opens the door and is immediately shot by a cop. Immediately shot. Why the fuck is he immediately shot? You go there because it's a reported hostage situation. I understand it's very high tension, you're nervous, you're on edge, but you knock on the door and someone opens the door. That's the expected response. Why do you panic and shoot him? It's like a pizza man going to my door because I ordered pizza. He knocks on my door, I open the door, and he fucking blasts me with a shotgun because he wasn't expecting me to open the door. What the fuck were the cops expecting? Did they think he was gonna bust through the second floor window like Action Man and land on the ground and turn himself in? Why did they freak out because he opened the door? I don't get that response at all. Everyone's like, oh, I feel so sorry for the cop. He's the real victim here. He's gonna have to live with that for the rest of his life. No, the cop is not the real fucking victim here. The real victim is the man who got killed and his family that he leaves behind now. I feel absolutely nothing for that cop except hatred. He's either A, the most untrained officer on the force, and the force benefits from him not being there, or B, just a bloodthirsty menace. Now, if it's the former, what kind of training do the SWAT go through? They're supposed to be the elite. They're supposed to be the best of the best. But apparently they're all so fucking afraid of their own shadow. What kind of training do they get? I have to know. Do they just put the fear of God in them? They train them like they're fucking dogs. If you hear a loud sound, just fucking shoot at it. You don't want to take any risks. No matter what happens, if you hear anything, if you see anything, shoot it. That's the only way to deal with problems. They just have to be so poorly trained. And the way they handle the situation after they kill the husband is just as bad. So they go there because it's a reported hostage situation. They kill the man who I guess they immediately assumed was the man who took the hostages. He opened the door, he must have the hostages. Fucking blast him, okay? He's down. Now they have the hostages left. And what do? They make the hostages walk over the corpse and then handcuff them. What fucking heroes, huh? That's how you're trained to handle a hostage situation. You handcuff the hostage after making them walk over a dead body? Amazing. Absolutely amazing. SWAT is a fucking joke. An absolute fucking joke. I made this video when the story was still fresh and all the details weren't fully out there, and now I just watched an interview with the mother of the son who was killed by the police, and she says there was no knocking on the door. He heard noises, so opened the door and was gunned down. They weren't giving him any warnings or anything, they just killed him the second he opened the door. Which doesn't exactly make it any better for the police side of the story. I'm not going to take out the part of the video with the knocking on the door portion because there still is some sources claiming they did knock on the door and then killed him when he opened it. So really neither one of them looks better for the police. Him opening the door while they, didn't give him any warnings or anything and killing him, that's just as bad. I don't know what the fuck they thought he was doing, opening the door to charge them with like riding on horseback or something. It's still a ridiculous scenario that doesn't warrant them gunning him down in any cases. Also, more breaking news as I was rendering this video out, the swatter has been arrested. Here's his picture. This is him. Looking like a man you'd find at your local card shop playing Yu-Gi-Oh! With the children. And now I'm happy to say, Tyler joins the Hall of Fame of swatters with Robert McDade and Zachary Lee, who are behind bars for many years. It's a fantastic conclusion, really. But this shouldn't be where the story ends. Miracle and vaporizing the cop need to face repercussions for this event. This whole thing wouldn't have happened without Miracle and Vaporize coming together and forming the perfect storm of tiny penis and lack of testosterone. And if Tyler's going to jail, those two should also be going to jail. Vaporize will likely get raperized in there. And it'd be a miracle if the other guy's asshole wasn't stretched 2 feet. The cop also needs to be joining them with some more than just a paid vacation. There needs to be more done here. Justice hasn't been served entirely, but it's a great fucking start. And I just want to address this because I already know it's going to come up in the comments, people calling me just a cop hater, one of those fuck all cops kind of people. I'm not. I don't hate all cops. There's good and bad cops, I know that, but there's a lot of bad cops, a lot of them going around right now. Just take, for example, the fucking Simon Says killer from not too long ago, who just executed a man who was following his absurd instructions, making him do everything shy of an interpretive dance and write him a book report, and then he kills him. It's fucking sickening, and I think this is another example of a bad cop. I know we don't have all the details surrounding what happened here, but I don't think under any circumstances would a man opening a door warrant being gunned down in cold blood. Unless he walked out of that front door with a nuclear bomb strapped to his chest, I don't see why you executed him like that for no fucking reason with no warnings. It's just disgusting. This is a bad cop. There's a lot of bad cops, but I don't hate all cops. Obviously, not all cops are bad. But yeah, I mean, that's this whole story, and I'm super glad the swatter was caught, and we can only hope that justice is served for. I'm not TMZ, and I'm not your school's local newspaper, but I do want to actually talk about a news story today that I'm sure you're all aware of by now. Alec Baldwin fatally shot cinematographer Halyna Hutchins on the set of his new movie, Rust. He also caught the director in the crossfire as well, who was shot and injured, but is okay. Unfortunately, Hutchins died. It was a tragic accident where a prop gun Alec Baldwin was handling actually had a live round in it, which ultimately ended in someone's death. I first heard about this minutes after it happened. I was streaming at the time, and I swear to God, the people in my chat are like the fastest on-scene reporters to everything. If there was a nuclear missile launch somewhere in the world, I would probably know about it before the US government because my chat would fucking tell me. Somehow, they just have like the cutting-edge information the second it happens. It honestly felt like whoever was telling me about this in Twitch chat was actually on the set when it was happening. So I've been following this very closely over the last couple days, and this is more than just a tragic accident. This is gross negligence and a disturbing look into how little movies care about the safety of the crew. I'll get into that in a minute, but just in case you don't know what happened, Alec Baldwin is in an upcoming movie called Rust, and I don't know what the movie's about. I haven't looked that up because I think that's the least important part about this whole thing, but I guess in the movie he plays some kind of gun-wielding badass. He's playing fucking Doom guy, so he's running around akimbo guns and going crazy because guns are a big part of the movie, it seems. And in one of the shots they were doing, he was handling the gun and he shot and killed the cinematographer and injured the director. It was supposed to be a prop gun without live rounds, obviously. Sorry to hit you with a cold water and tell you Santa Claus isn't real, but movies are fake. Those guns you see in the movies aren't shooting real bullets or anything, at least they're not supposed to. But in this case, the gun Alec Baldwin was handling had a real round in it. Now, a lot of people immediately compared this to the tragic death of Bruce Lee's son on the set of The Crow. Brandon Lee died because of a malfunctioning prop weapon where a projectile actually did come out of what was supposed to be a blank and it killed him. A lot of people compared it to that, but this is totally different. This is so much worse. So I read this article today because this is still a developing story. Everyone's trying to figure out what the fuck happened here. Like the Tooth Fairy came in and delivered a real round into a prop gun. How did this happen, you know? And so the investigation's been launched, and apparently the entire filming of this movie was a fucking disaster. Crew members weren't allowed to stay nearby, so they had to drive 50 miles each day just to get to set. The conditions were abominable, which is obviously leading to them being miserable. So a lot of them wanting to quit and just wanting better conditions, and in response to that, they just started hiring non-union workers to replace the union workers. The fucking prisoners on Alcatraz Island were treated with more respect than the crew on Rust. It sounds like working on Rust would have been worse than working as a custodian in hell. At least maybe in hell the demons would have treated you better than the Rust team did. I would have rather been licking gas station toilet seats clean than go work on Rust. But not only were the conditions absolutely horrible and unacceptable to a damn near criminal degree, I would argue, but it was also like going to an active war zone every time you stepped on the set of the movie. Because this wasn't the only time there was an accidental discharge of the firearms on set. It happened 3 times, allegedly. Now, I don't know if it means that a live round was fired each time, or if it just means the gun wasn't fully cold. When they called cold gun, it was supposed to mean like there was nothing in there. So it could mean like the other 3 times it was like blank rounds that fired. But even still, that is a massive mistake to make. You call cold gun and a blank fires is still very dangerous. You have to be in control. You have to know what the fuck is in the guns. There were multiple discharges of firearms throughout filming. So it's like that scene in Zoolander where they're having like a fucking gasoline fight. Like, they didn't care. They were using like real guns, it seems. It wasn't even like props at that point. They just went to like the local, gun store, just purchased a lot and like, yeah, this will be fine for the movie. We'll just dodge the bullets or some shit. So I guess you just show up the set and every time there's a scene with a gun in it, you have to like be ducking for cover just in case. People just wandering around fucking dual-wielding pistols, firing them to the air like that guy from Looney Tunes, what's his name, Wiley Sharterton, the fucking guy with the beard, Yosemite Sam, just over there fucking blasting into the sky. So obviously the crew didn't feel safe, which led to half a dozen of them leaving just hours before the fatal shooting. Like, all of the signs were there for a disaster, but they were ignored because apparently they were trying to really rush the movie out, so they just didn't care. So I don't know how the fuck, like, a firearm discharges one time and you're not like, holy shit, this is something we really need to, take a hold of, grab by the fucking nutsack and fix. Because that is just that's a recipe for disaster. That is asking for a tragedy, and that's exactly what happened. They were begging for it. Just read this again. Alec Baldwin's stunt double fired 2 rounds in a gun that they said was cold. That shit is not cold. That is clearly not cold. If that's cold, then my cock is 16 inches long. Like, it's unreal. They had so many chances to fix the problem. They had 3 discharges, according to that quote there. That means they had multiple opportunities to get things under control, and they just didn't. Dude just kicking back, smoking a pipe, saying, surely it won't happen a 4th time. Like, that was their solution. Like, okay, now that we've got all the bad luck out of the way, now it's smooth sailing here. And then, of course, what happened, Alec Baldwin, during his scene, he's supposed to unholster his weapon, and they said the gun was cold, as they did the last time, and it wasn't cold, as it wasn't last time. So he brought it out of his holster, and it fired a live round, which shot and killed Hutchins and injured the director behind her. A completely avoidable tragedy if anyone on set bothered to give a shit about safety. Now, of course, the crew cared about safety, clearly, because they were protesting and they left because they felt so unsafe. But I'm talking about, like, the higher-ups that were in charge of making these decisions and making sure things were safe. They clearly didn't give a fuck. They just kept rushing and cutting corners. And then their solution to everything was, okay, let them leave. We'll replace them and keep using these fucking actual guns. If you can dodge a bullet, we can dodge a lawsuit. So let's really get out there and do our best. I'm obviously not part of the Trust and Safety Board of the United States of America, but I think if, while filming a movie, 3 times your prop guns are called cold, even though they're shooting even blanks, I think you need to really take a moment to reevaluate your crew and get everything under control and maybe start to think like, so there's a problem here. Clearly we're not all on the same page. This department's kind of lacking. Let's fix that. But hey, that's just me. I'm not a director or part of a film board. It's just so fucking sad. And what's even worse is the people on Twitter who are saying Alec Baldwin needs to go to prison for this. Why? It's not his fault. He was told the gun was cold and was just doing the scene as he was instructed. It's not like he went in there like the spirit of vengeance and took the gun and just started shooting people. He was told the gun was cold and he was filming a scene. And unfortunately, the production didn't do a good job of making sure there wasn't a real gun with real bullets on set. I don't even know why that would be there. Again, I'm not like in the film board or the film industry very much, apart from being the world's best actor, but I can't imagine why during any movie you'd need a real magazine of real bullets next to all of your blanks and empty guns. Why is that there? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like something out of like a fucking Hitman mission where you're trying to assassinate someone. Why the fuck would there be real bullets mixed in with all of the fake ones? And it blows my fucking mind. It's crazy. Such a sad and yet entirely avoidable tragedy. I just wanted to talk about it because this story has been truly wild. And I feel horrible for Alec Baldwin. I feel horrible, obviously, for the family of Hutchins and everyone on that crew. Because what a sad set of circumstances. There's a lot of liars in the world. Not to put the fear of God in you and have you looking over your shoulder every moment of your life, but you can't trust anyone except me when I say, I fucking told you. About a year ago, I made a video talking about how dangerous and stupid gender reveal parties were, and how this tradition practiced by inbred narcissists is just absolutely destructive, obsolete, and the dumbest goddamn thing there is. In that video, I go over a few of the wildest stories that I could remember, such as a couple having an alligator chomp down on a blue balloon to tell their family that him and his sister are having a baby boy. Another person started an entire 48,000-acre wildfire. Another family had made a pipe bomb that ended up killing their family member. They were supposed to shoot out like a blue explosive, but they made just an actual pipe bomb that just annihilated a family member. Just some actual dangerous garbage. But I also said in that video this. raged on for 47,000 acres worth of incinerated shit. It actually makes me a bit curious. Perhaps the origin of the California wildfires that just fucking annihilated everything was probably the gender reveal party gone wrong. I bet like a family was getting together to reveal the baby's gender with a fucking flamethrower that shot out blue or pink flames depending on the gender. And unlike the Mayan calendar, I wasn't wrong. Today it turns out the origin of the most recent California wildfire was indeed a gender reveal party gone wrong, and the method was nearly identical to what I hypothesized almost a year ago. It wasn't a flamethrower. It was a smoke thrower, a fucking little goofy smoke machine, like some Looney Tunes Acme dynamite that they plunged and just started the entire wildfire with. I'm no Nostradamus, alright? I'm not gonna take full credit, you know, I can't see the future. I don't have any of these prophecies. And man, it just feels great to say I told you. It feels like an entire marching band of angels scratching my back. When I made that video, there were people defending gender reveal parties. Oh, these are outliers, you know, there's nothing wrong with blowing shit up to say to your family what gender baby you're having. There's nothing wrong with that. It's an American tradition. It's great, Charlie. It just feels euphoric, like a Redditor discovering atheism, to just say, I told you so, to these gender reveal party enthusiasts, where for some reason there's this incredible obsession on blowing shit up. And I'm going to make a bold claim again. I'm going to do another look into my crystal ball here and make another prophecy come true. I am going to say that most likely this was a boy. I'm going to say the smoke color that was shot out was likely blue. This hasn't been revealed yet. There is security camera footage of it, but they haven't released it to the public yet. But as the preeminent expert and top epidemiologist when it comes to plotting gender reveal degeneracy, I have noticed a trend among these absolute troglodytes, and it's that when it's a boy, they decide to blow shit up and start fires. So I haven't really seen too many instances where there was a girl that led to a wildfire, but there have been 2 boy gender reveal parties that have led to wildfires. And in fact, there's actually only been 1 gender reveal party in which they were announcing a girl where I noticed a catastrophic accident. It was when a crop dusting plane was flying over and planned to dump pink water but ended up just nosediving and crashing into a field. So I don't think it's going to be a girl in this reveal here, but I can say for certain this is the only gender reveal I actually fucking care about. Nobody ever gives a shit what gender baby you're having, by the way. Nobody ever cares until right now. I care. I have to see that surveillance footage. I have to know. There's just a tickle in my sack telling me, Charlie, you're right about this one as well. I have to fucking know. I am eagerly awaiting the release of this surveillance camera footage. If they fucking declassified every Area 51 document and revealed aliens are real, UFOs are real, I wouldn't give a fuck because I'd still be way too focused and hungry for this surveillance camera footage. I would care far more about that. I mean, shit, maybe I've been inspired. Maybe I'll throw my own party in the same vein as these gender reveal parties. I'll have my security camera reveal stunt where I drunk drive and crash a monster truck into a nitroglycerin plant. But even if I did do something like that, I'm sure these dumb fucking idiots would still find a way to one-up that. I'm sure, like, in 2 months from now, when we forget this ever even happened, there's gonna be another gender reveal stunt where some dude drops blue napalm on a farm field to signify he's having a boy. He just puts, like, fucking food coloring and napalm and just completely sets ablaze an entire state or something. It's just such a fucked up thing these stupid people keep doing, and I feel bad for the kids, because people are not gonna like the kids just because of their parents. Like, these kids are destined to be hated for a little while, I imagine, because this family has now sacrificed 7,000 acres worth of land, houses, people evacuating, all for the upcoming birth of their son or daughter. Most likely son. I still believe it's most likely a boy, just given historical data and trends. So when that kid is born, and he tells people, yeah, remember that wildfire? My parents started that for me as like a little gift. Oh. They just run away from the kids and not talk to them. Like, it's garbage. Like, you are actually making your kid's birth something people actively remember as a negative thing because it directly affected them in a shitty way, all because you are some narcissistic, selfish fucking asshole with this insatiable appetite for validation on social media to get likes with these grand gender reveals that always end in disaster, really. Even when a gender reveal stunt goes right, it's underwhelming as fuck. Oh, you made blue smoke fire out of a PVC pipe. Wow. You're a real mad scientist and an ace engineer. Incredible work, Harold. Oh, goodness me. Now I'm excited for your kid's birth. Now I'm interested. Here's a like. Congrats, buddy. It's so stupid. I just don't get it. It's a dumb fucking tradition. I don't know who the fuck partakes in it or who enjoys watching these gender reveal stunts. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. Actively, it's been over 24 hours since my last shower. I'm greasy, covered in gamer gunk, and I'm gonna get serious. There's something I want to talk about. Now, my channel has always just been me making things I have fun making, talking about things I want to talk about, joke about shit I want to joke about. I just kind of treat it like a public diary, kind of like Doug's Journal from that cartoon Doug, but instead of having a cool alter ego superhero like Quail Man, my alter ego is a fucking sex toy stuntman. But the point I'm making is, I've always just talked about things that I've had on my mind at the time. Now, you probably don't need to be a psychic with a crystal ball to guess what's been on my mind this week with everything that's happened in the country, with the murder of George Floyd at the hands of police officers, as well as all the protests that have come as a result of that, as well as other things that built up to it. Obviously, that's been what I've been thinking about this week. So let me just start by hitting you with a fucking lightning round here, give you the cliff notes of everything I'm feeling. What happened to George Floyd is a fucking deplorable crime, and all officers involved need to be charged to the fullest extent of the law, as well as the first medical examiner that tried to conceal his cause of death. The first medical examiner's autopsy just seemed to want to cover the officer's asshole by saying very vague things to explain it, like they could have had intoxicants in his system, he could have had a pre-existing medical condition that flared up at the exact moment the officer had his knee on his neck, all kinds of just garbage bullshit. Oh, Mr. Floyd may have looked at a picture of marijuana earlier that day, which caused his body to shut down at the exact moment that the officer's knee was on his neck. In fact, while looking at Mr. Floyd's brain, I was able to see that he had a dream the night before he was arrested where he was smoking weed in that dream, so perhaps that dream may have played a role in his death. Just some straight up garbage from the first medical examiner that I think he needs to be charged with trying to conceal the murder. An independent autopsy was just completed today that confirmed that it was the officer's actions that led to his death via asphyxiation. So I think all of that is terrible, obviously. Now, for the protests, I 100% support the protest. I 100% support the Black Lives Matter movement and the message that they're trying to send and trying to change the systemic racism. I think it's a huge problem that needs to be addressed, and I think the protests and all of that is great. I think the Black Lives Matter movement and all the protests we're seeing this week can really be the start of some very positive change to a system that has been truly terrible for a lot of people for a long time. I mean, shit, people are more afraid of the fucking police officer these days than the boogeyman. If you want to scare your children, you don't tell them that the boogeyman's coming if they don't eat their vegetables. You tell them that they're going to call the police. That's 10 times as fucking scary for people these days, and that's not right. The people that are supposed to protect and serve are the people that people are most fearful of. That's just absolutely terrible. So I 100% stand by the movement, and I stand by everyone out there protesting, and I 100% agree that things need to change. It's, this absolutely was a necessity. This needed to happen. Police brutality has gone way too fucking far for way too fucking long, and it's about time that people come together and say enough is enough. Do I think every single cop in the country is a piece of shit? Absolutely not. There are good cops, but there's a fucking ton of bad cops, as these protests are showing us. These cops are going straight up barbaric in some situations, just fucking pepper spraying people in drive-bys, going through doing like 360 behind the back pepper spray out of their fucking police window. They're macing children, shooting people in the eyes that aren't even protesting with rubber bullets. That fucking 2 people have lost their eyes from what I've seen just from being around protests. There was a man smoking a cigarette nearby who got shot for no reason. Like, just crazy shit from the police that is showing there is a ton of bad police officers, which we all knew. But there are good ones too, so I don't say every single cop is bad. I don't believe that, not at all. But there is a lot of bad ones, and a lot of things need to change when it comes to police. There needs to be reform. Now, I'm sure many of you have realized by now, but I'm not a politically charged guy. I don't fucking do political content because A, I think, political content is boring, and B, I just don't like where politics is these days. It's mainly like football teams where you choose a team to root for and then ignore bad things on that side just to say a huge supporter of that team because you're a super fan of that team and you just ignore anything bad. And I don't agree with that. For me personally, I have a set of ideals and beliefs and I support things that go in line with that, and I don't like things that go against it, which is typically why on an issue, I talk about bad things on both sides of the issue, which is apparently a bad thing that people hate these days. They call it centrists on Twitter, I think, and it's just constantly shit on. That shit is fucking blasted harder than a fleshlight. Like, if you're a centrist or you talk about issues on two sides, you are immediately discredited as a human being, which I don't really understand. Why would you encourage people to be like a brainwashed zombie to go to one side or the other and then ignore bad things and only talk about bad things against the other side? Like, why the fuck would you want that? Just to be constantly swallowing shit without ever questioning it? I think it's important to talk about and be reasonable about both things, everything around a topic, as opposed to just what goes in line with what team you chose to support, you know what I mean? Now, all of this to say that what's happening right now, I think goes well above politics. This is not some political only issue. This is something that is just so beyond politics and so important, which is why I wanted to talk about it. Now, typically with things I support, I keep it to myself. I keep that shit private, whether it be financial donations to certain causes or anything like that, charities, people, or just things I support in general. I keep that to myself because I don't want to publicize it and accidentally, just have someone blindly follow my set of ideals. I want people to come to their own conclusions and make their own decisions on what's important to them. However, in this case, I wanted to talk about this and show my support because for this cause, I think it's extremely important that everyone knows that there's so many people backing this message and this movement because it is a super important thing that absolutely needs to be addressed and absolutely needs to have action taken on it. There needs to be police reform. There needs to be a lot of changes because there is a lot of fucking problems. Now, this next thing is actually something I posted about on Twitter. Looting. I don't think looting is a good thing. Apparently that's a controversial thing to say right now, but yeah, I think looting is bad. I don't know why people are making excuses for the looting. It's not even the protesters that are looting. It's people that are hijacking the movement to just cause destruction and steal things for their own personal gain. There's literally discords of people that are coordinating to get U-Hauls together, go to where protests are happening, and just robbing nearby stores. They don't care about George Floyd, and they don't care about the movement or the message. They're just there to steal shit and cause destruction, and I don't know why people on Twitter are defending that. Destroying and looting these small family-owned businesses are doing nothing to help voices be heard. Yes, I know AutoZone, Target, and all that has been looted and burnt down and shit. Those are big multi-billion-dollar companies. I get that. But it's not like they're hurt from it. What you've hurt is the people that were employed by those businesses. And yes, they can rebuild. I know everyone's saying, items can be replaced, lives can't. That's true. But it also shouldn't even come to that where items need to be replaced because it's not helping. A lot of small businesses, mostly small businesses from what I've seen, are the ones that are getting destroyed and looted. Of course, there's the most popular example of the man who was opening his bar that was absolutely demolished, but luckily people did donate to his GoFundMe to rebuild it, but who knows when he can actually rebuild that and get his dream back off the ground. That's still going to take a lot of time, even with that financial support. And I don't see why targeting his bar helped anything. It just hurt him. It's just hurting the community. In my city specifically, there was this great Vietnamese restaurant that I'd eaten at multiple times called Saigon Bay Vietnamese Restaurant. It was owned and operated by a family of 4 for the last 4 years, and during a Tampa looting session, it was burnt down and destroyed, as well as a few other buildings nearby. And I just have to ask why. Like, what the fuck did that accomplish? It's not like by burning that down, anything was solved. It's not like the people in power are going to be like, holy shit, we were ignoring this problem, but now that they've targeted this Vietnamese restaurant and destroyed it, now we have to listen. Fucking love that Vietnamese restaurant. Okay, now it's time to get serious. It didn't do anything. What happened is it just ruined that entire family's lives that they built up over the course of 4 years that they put everything into. Again, I know this wasn't the protesters that did this, by the way. I want to make that clear. I'm well aware it's not real protesters doing this. It's very evil people that are taking advantage of this situation to cause chaos and loot shit and burn shit and just be assholes. I get that. But what it's done, all of these people doing this, are turning the community against the protests because now they're afraid. They're afraid of the protests. If they hear protests nearby and they own a small business, they're afraid of what might happen to their business nearby. So it's just a bad thing for the entire protest as a whole to go on Twitter and encourage the looting and make it sound like it's just something that's supposed to be acceptable. I just don't agree with that because everything that the protest is doing is fucking great, but then the people that are hijacking it and don't even fucking care are taking advantage of it and still getting defended on Twitter, and I don't like that at all. Now, I'm not saying this is an absolute. Not everyone is defending looting, of course. Like, there's a lot of protesters out there actively trying to stop it, putting themselves in front of looters in a building or just outright discouraging it or making sure people know that this is not acceptable, this is not what the protest is about, and that's great. I'm just saying it is still something that is getting defended from time to time on Twitter that I just disagree with, but I want to again reiterate, truly hope that there can be a good positive change and outcome from all of this, and my heart goes out to everyone affected and everyone involved, wishing the absolute best from this situation. Hopefully by the end of everything here will be a lot. I just saw a crazy story I have to talk about. A woman working at Wells Fargo died at her desk, and her body wasn't discovered for 4 days, despite co-workers being in the building as well as 24/7 security. It's not like she went to some condemned building all alone like Squidward when he goes to that void place. Like, she was in an occupied space, working, surrounded by other people, and nobody noticed that she had passed away. Until her body started to rot and decay, and they started to smell it, and then someone became alerted and realized, gee willikers, we have a corpse here. That is baffling to me. Like, this is the perfect illustration for how little these companies care about their workers. Like, they are not your friends. They do not give a fuck about you.
A Tempe Wells Fargo employee died at her desk. And 12 News is now confirming that it may have taken as many as 4 days for anyone in the office to notice.
That's so sad. Now, according to workers, she was in an underpopulated area of the office because a lot of workers for Wells Fargo work remote, but there still were coworkers there as well as 24/7 security, and I imagine there were other higher level like Wells Fargo executives that have to be in the building at least once or twice over the course of 4 days, you would think, to like manage it, and nobody found her. Because I imagine they treat employees just like faceless cogs in the machine and not human beings.
A Wells Fargo employee went to work the morning of Friday, August 16th and never went home. Tempe police tell 12 News 60-year-old Denise Prudhomme scanned into work at 7 o'clock in the morning. 4 days later, police responded to the office building near Washington Street and Priest Drive for reports of a subject down. Prudhomme was declared dead. The Tempe Police Criminal Investigation Bureau is investigating, but do not suspect foul play.
I saw a comment that really put things into an interesting perspective. It said, "Be 5 minutes late to work, get reprimanded and maybe fired. Die in your cubicle and nobody notices." It's super upsetting. These employees just numbers on a page for executives to try and exploit, figuring out how to get the most juice for the squeeze for as little amount of money as possible to get the most amount of return on it. It's all about profit. And it doesn't matter if an employee dies at their desk, you don't even notice. And the people working around you also won't notice because they're also part of that machine and too wrapped up in their own personal experience with it.
A Wells Fargo employee exclusively spoke with 12 News, but asked not to be recorded or identified out of fear for their job. They say a colleague found Prudhomme dead at her desk in a cubicle while walking around the building on Tuesday, August 20th. Prudhomme's cubicle was reportedly on the 3rd floor and away from the main aisle. This employee says several people had smelled a foul odor, but passed it off as faulty plumbing.
It's so weird to me how if something's off the main aisle, it basically just falls to the fucking back rooms at Wells Fargo, I guess. So if someone's not at like one of the main front and center cubicles, they basically cease to exist, I guess. So for 4 days, people walking down this main aisle never saw her cubicle and noticed the body. It reminds me of in Dexter's Laboratory, the back of the bus where that kid was like a gum monster, because he was like, you know, glued down to the seat from chewing gum, and no one goes to the back of the bus. Like, that's kind of what I picture for this Wells Fargo office now. Oh, well, she wasn't in the main aisle, so what were we supposed to do? Go over there and check? We don't do that. We don't go over there. That's a forsaken realm. That's like a fucking different dimension over in that ballpark.
They say while most Wells Fargo employees at this Tempe location work remote, the building has 24/7 security, and someone should have found Prudhomme sooner. The incident left several employees feeling scared and uneasy. This employee wants to see new safety protocols in place, telling me, quote, "It's negligence in some part."
So a good chunk of the employees at that Wells Fargo office do work remote, but not all of them. There were other colleagues there, and of course 24/7 security, as well as like custodial staff and everything, so it was not like an empty building or anything. I am extremely curious to see what protocol changes Wells Fargo might make here. I'm expecting some like really cringy dogshit solution from some out-of-touch Silicon Valley type that just tries ridiculous garbage. Like they might integrate like a jingle. If you're feeling kind of dizzy, if your stomach's feeling shitty, go somewhere else. If your heart starts to pound and you might fall down, go somewhere else. Die off the premises, please. We're begging you. It's bad for our PR, so just die somewhere else, please, instead of in our cubicles. They're not all of a sudden going to start treating their employees like human beings. That's not going to happen. No shot. These fucking elite level zombies that control all this shit, that's never going to happen. There's a higher likelihood that aliens will come down right now and suck my flaccid cock. But I do think they'll do some kind of like desperate attempt at trying to spin this in a positive way. Like, this was a huge wake-up call for us here. We were all shocked and disgusted by what happened, and we want to make a big change. And that's why we're the first office to require hourly health check-ins where we send around a healthcare professional to check in on each cubicle to ensure that the employee is still breathing. And they'll just have like some dude walk around to each cubicle going, "Hey, Janet, just making sure, are you still alive? Okay, let me check your pulse real quick." All right, great news. Hey, keep up the good work. You're a valuable team member here. We're a family. Don't forget, we're more than a team, we're a fucking family. Fist bump. All right, I'm gonna go check on the next one.
A different worker also spoke with 12 News anonymously.
It was just uncomfortable.
Again, calling on the company to do more.
Body was there about 4 days before anybody found it, before anybody walked up to her and just to say hi, make sure she's okay. She was just laying on her desk.
Just a really sad thought that this woman died completely alone. No one in the office going to say hi or anything like that. I don't know about, like, back home, if there was anyone there wondering where she was. It'd been 4 days since she returned home and no one, called to check in and see what was going on or where she might be. It's just really upsetting.
A Wells Fargo spokesperson previously sent 12 News a statement saying, in part, "We are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of our colleague at our Tempe office," adding counselors through our employee assistance consulting service are available to support employees. An employee tells me their direct management offered those services, addressed the incident, and told workers the building was thoroughly cleaned.
We here at Wells Fargo are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of what's her name. It's shaken us to our very core, and we're looking to do more to ensure this doesn't happen again. In the meantime, though, we'll see you at work tomorrow. And if you drop dead, we probably won't notice, so do your best not to do that. We'd hate to go back to back on this. Anyway, though, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. It just made me sad. It's just a really awful thing to see, and it serves as a rough reminder that corporations really do not care about you. They are not your friends, they are certainly not your family, and they are absolutely not looking out for your best interests. They barely know you exist. Unless, of course, you're not performing up to the standards that they want you to, then they notice immediately and you will be fucking canned on the spot. But if you actually just die in their office, they have no clue. And that's terrible. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of the restaurant Panera Bread. Now, I hope none of you raised your hand, because if you did, you'd be an absolute buffoon, you straight up imbecile. I can't see if you do that. But I'm assuming a lot of you have heard of Panera Bread before. It's very popular. But did you know that it's now responsible for at least 2 deaths because of its menu item, charged lemonade? This is a fascinating, concerning, and pretty sad story that I just had to talk about, because with 2 deaths under its belt, the charged lemonade is almost as dangerous as just eating Tide Pods. Now, while 2 deaths doesn't seem like a lot, statistically speaking, that's from 1 menu item on just innocent people whose only crime was looking for a tasty beverage. This is very alarming stuff. So yeah, it may not be piling up corpses to the sky or anything, but 2 people dying from just drinking lemonade from the menu is a problem. Now, when I first saw the headlines, I assumed it was contaminated product or something, something must have gone wrong with the lemonade. I thought it'd be turns out in their charged lemonade, the secret ingredient was pink sauce, so people were dying of botulism and cringe or something. But it's actually not that. Their charged lemonade is a caffeinated drink that was improperly advertised, so people that shouldn't be consuming caffeine or huge amounts of caffeine were consuming the charged lemonade, and unfortunately 2 people did die from it. And it is a lot of caffeine in the charged lemonade. It's not just a couple tiddlywinks worth of caffeine, it's a lot. Now, the most recent death is that of a 46-year-old man from Florida whose family has now filed a wrongful death and negligence lawsuit against Panera. Now, his name is David Brown. He had high blood pressure and didn't consume energy drinks, but in the lawsuit, he said he believed the charged lemonade was safe since it was not advertised as an energy drink. It was offered in the same place as the restaurant chain's non-caffeinated or less caffeinated drinks, which is obviously a huge problem because there are people with underlying conditions that should not be consuming a ton of caffeine. This is the perfect example of that. That's why you need to properly label these beverages, because they can be legitimately dangerous to people that aren't aware of what's in them. According to the lawsuit, on October 9th, Brown had the drink 3 times during a visit to Panera Bread. Apparently this was part of their endless sipping offer. I don't know what it's called at Panera, fucking Super Sippers Deluxe something, the sip package, where you can get refills, multiple refills. So I'm assuming he got this refilled 3 times. in Florida, and on his walk home, he suffered cardiac arrest and died a short time later. He had ordered a Panera charged lemonade at least 7 times over the course of 2 weeks from September to October. An extremely sad situation that was easily avoidable. David Brown knew about his underlying condition and did everything he could to avoid anything that would cause him problems, but he simply didn't know that the Panera charged lemonade was a highly caffeinated drink. And unfortunately, it led to his death. Now, I do think this information is worth sharing here. Brown had a chromosomal deficiency disorder, developmental delays, some blurred vision, and a mild intellectual disability. He had worked at Publix for 17 years and would regularly go to Panera after work for meals as many as 3 times a week because, according to the lawsuit, he said the chain advertised as being a healthy alternative to other restaurants. This is something I see a lot of people say. This is a sentiment shared by many that they perceive Panera as being a healthy restaurant. And unfortunately, I too once believed this, but that's just not true. Panera is not healthier than most other chains. It's just genuinely not. If you actually look at the nutrition facts of what they serve, it's just as unhealthy as pretty much anything else you'd find elsewhere. You could probably find a Wendy's meal that might have more nutrition than some of the macros that Panera's offering. It is not necessarily a healthy place. It has some healthy options, sure, but so does fucking McDonald's too. Panera is not a healthy restaurant, especially not its soups. Its soups, some of them still have trans fat. I thought that shit got outlawed by the Geneva Convention, but no, like their broccoli cheddar soup does still have fucking trans fat in it. So it's not a great place to be eating if you're looking to be eating healthy, and it's certainly not a safe place to be drinking, I guess, with the charged lemonade out here like a fucking assassin taking people down. So I did want to just briefly mention that. Now let's talk about the other death that is being blamed on Panera's charged lemonade. A 21-year-old university student named Sarah Katz died of cardiac arrest after drinking the beverage in 2022. She was diagnosed with a congenital long QT syndrome type 1 when she was 5 years old, so she had an abnormal heart rhythm, which could be life-threatening. And according to the lawsuit, the charged lemonade was not advertised as an energy drink at the time that Katz ordered it. So Katz's family claimed that she didn't know that the drink had high levels of caffeine because it was inadequately labeled, and alleged her death is a direct result of drinking it. Which I think is a very fair assessment. I imagine that a highly caffeinated beverage like the charged lemonade would be extremely bad for someone with her condition. So I do think that is a huge component of what led to her death. And according to this lawsuit as well, Panera just wasn't advertising the charged lemonade as being like a super caffeinated drink when they should. According to what I can find, the caffeine levels on the small are about 260, whereas if you get the large, it's 390 milligrams of caffeine, which is a fucking ton. And once again, the claim is being made that it was offered side by side with all of the store's non-caffeinated or less caffeinated drinks. It was not advertised as an energy drink, nor were there any warnings to consumers, which is completely unacceptable, because again, there are just people that can't drink that. But they wouldn't know that they can't drink it if it's not properly labeled as being a highly caffeinated drink, thus led to these situations, allegedly. It's just so easily avoidable if they had just said, hey look, charged lemonade, packed out the fucking wazoo with caffeine. Have your entire week's worth of caffeine allowance in a single sip. A goddamn chug jug of rat poison would do less damage to your body than the Panera charged lemonade. And especially with like the refills, what a diabolical combination. Now, Panera has responded with the most expected response. Panera expresses our deep sympathy for Mr. Brown's family. Based on our investigation, we believe his unfortunate passing was not caused by one of the company's products. We view this lawsuit, which was filed by the same law firm as a previous claim, to be equally without merit. Panera stands firmly by the safety of our products. It's not so much the safety of the lemonade, because most people can have 1 or 2 lemonades, though if you go to like 3, 4, even 5 charged lemonades, God rest your soul, it's gonna look like a crime scene. Your fucking heart will explode with this amount of caffeine. If you have like 5 charged lemonades from Panera, you better start writing down like your last wishes, because you're not making it out alive. So it's not so much like the product is unsafe to consume, it's that it wasn't properly labeled or properly conveyed to consumers how much caffeine was in there, so people that are sensitive to caffeine or have underlying conditions were drinking it, and it potentially led to these 2 deaths. Now, in the case of Sarah Katz, her friend said that she was very aware of her health and was very vigilant to avoid caffeine. She never drank coffee, so this indicates that she would be very much in tune with avoiding the charged lemonade had she known that there was so much caffeine in it. So, Panera told ABC that there is still an ongoing investigation, but they did say we were saddened to learn last week about the tragic passing of Sarah Katz. While our investigation is ongoing, out of an abundance of caution, we have enhanced our existing caffeine disclosure for these beverages at our bakery cafes, on our website, and on the Panera app. Which is the whole point. You didn't do enough to make sure consumers were educated on how much caffeine was in there, or even if it was a highly caffeinated drink in the first place, if it was surrounded by other non-caffeinated or less caffeinated drinks. Like, you can't just fucking sneak it in there in between, like, the orange juice and the water. People are going to make the assumption, like, oh, this is probably just some kind of wacky lemonade. Most people wouldn't draw the conclusion, like, oh, this is probably a 400 fucking milligram bomb of caffeine. So it's just a matter of you needed to more effectively communicate to consumers that this is extremely caffeinated because it's dangerous not to. So yeah, buyers beware out there for any Panera enthusiasts. Maybe avoid the charged lemonade just in case. Life is something very special and mysterious. We develop asshole first in our mother's bellies, and over time when we're finished baking, Mommy blasts us out of her pussy at a doctor's office and everyone celebrates yee-haw, destined to live a normal life with normal parents. But then there's some people out there that are born for something much more and born to extraordinary parents. And how do you know that? How can you recognize when there's a special birth coming up? Well, it's because the parents let the world fucking know by conducting a terrorist attack to announce the baby's gender. I'm talking, of course, about gender reveal parties. Don't let the innocent name fool you. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing. When you hear gender reveal party, start running. Because what they're actually telling you is that you're being enlisted into a fucking war zone if you get invited to a gender reveal party. It's like storming the fucking beaches back in World War II. Like I said last month, because gender reveal party terrorist attacks have become a monthly thing now where people are dying at them or being maimed or setting the fucking world on fire with the California wildfires resulting from a gender reveal party. This shit has become an actual plague of egotistical narcissists trying to one-up each other with bigger explosions with blue or pink dust to announce a baby's gender. Gone are the days of just inviting your friends over and then revealing a blue or pink balloon that you pop with blue dust that flies out to announce it's a boy and everyone goes crazy. Oh, it's a boy! That's not what happens anymore. Now, if you go to one of these things, what's likely going to happen is it's going to be some kind of extreme explosion, or they're going to bring in like a death row inmate and shoot them, but they've already pumped their veins full of like colored dye, whether it's blue or pink, so they execute them, and when the blood squirts, it's like blue and it's announcing a boy or something. This shit is hardcore. Like I said in last month's gender reveal party disaster where 2 people died, you are twice as likely to die at a gender reveal party than you are to die by shark attack. That is a real statistic, and if it continues at this rate, gender reveal parties are going to take over vending machine deaths per year. It's coming up there. It's getting up there. And I wouldn't be surprised if at some point you're more likely to die at a gender reveal party than you are in a car accident or something crazy. Like, it's getting wild. It is absolutely on like an extraordinary upward trajectory of gender reveal deaths. So anyway, why am I talking about it? Because again, today, there has been another disaster of a gender reveal party. A family detonated 80 pounds of tannerite at a local quarry, which caused an explosion so huge that it simulated an earthquake and shook 2 different states. People were reporting their houses' foundations were cracking, pictures were flying off the walls, and they all just thought they were being brutalized by an earthquake. Those fools had no idea that it was something far more dangerous than a simple natural disaster. It was a bunch of fucking idiots with a ton of tannerite. I mean, how could you not know that? Though, in their defense, I wouldn't be surprised if an earthquake did result from this explosion. The tectonic plates were probably just celebrating the exciting announcement from the gender reveal party. And spoiler alert, it was a boy. So, that's pretty fucking cool. That kid's coming into this world and he's already made an impact. Now, luckily, Wile E. Coyote, the guy who fucking pulled the plunger to blow up all the tannerite, turned himself in and may be facing charges, which he absolutely fucking should. So that's good news at least. They've got the slippery explosion guru here. So hopefully something comes from that. But even if like you break this situation down, 80 pounds of tannerite is so excessive. When you blew that shit up, who was to say that it wouldn't just kill everybody there? You know what I mean? Like, that is such an extreme amount of explosives. Like, the shockwave alone could have caused the carrying mother to have an abortion or something, you know? Like, that was so extreme. I do believe he set the record for the biggest gender party reveal explosion, though not the most damage. Obviously, that record is still held by the family that caused the massive California wildfires a few months back. But still, a good attempt, though I would recommend next time he tries to fire some kind of rocket into space and maybe try and blow up the sun or something like that, like some kind of gamma burst. I'm not really sure, but there's definitely ways to improve this record. I don't think it's going to stand for longer than a month or two at this rate. There's definitely going to be something bigger next month. Probably some kind of nuclear submarine detonation that glows up in like a blue mushroom cloud. But it definitely was a valiant attempt. I just can't even imagine what goes through their head. No one gets excited for a gender reveal party. Literally no one. When your friends and family go there, they're just pretending to make you feel better. No one gives a fuck. Absolutely not. And the people who care the least are the people on the internet, total strangers, so it's a big waste of time. The only thing people should really be getting excited for is the new U2s, baby. Yeah, I just wanted to quickly mention that the new U2s came out today. So if you're interested in getting one of these bad boys, and this is a fucking bad boy, that is a tall and muscular man. You can click the link in the description below. Also, I saw a lot of people wondering why there wasn't any fleshlights. That's my fleshlight cutlass. The attention to detail is spectacular. There's like a little juicero at the bottom. Like, the whole thing is fucking wonderful. Chest on the back. I think it's great. So, I mean, if you want one, you can click the link in the description below. Give it a cum tribute, whatever you want to do. But it's a beautiful collector's item. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I've become a fan of gender reveal parties. And I mean that truthfully. The lunacy of them, and just like this incredible track record of death and destruction for something as innocent as revealing a baby's gender is fascinating. And the stories are always so goofy and silly. It's like some Saturday morning cartoon shit. Like, it's hard not to be drawn into them. So, it's not going anywhere. More and more people are becoming narcissistic thanks to things like the internet rewarding them with those beautiful little updoots and internet brownie points and shit. So, people want those, they need those, and they feel like a baby and revealing its gender is a good way of getting them because the internet's taught them that. They've reinforced that idea because all of the wholesome ones, or like the big spectacles, have gone viral or blown up on social media, so everyone tries to get on that train and suckle on that titty. But it doesn't always work, so you end up with shit like causing an 80-pound explosion earthquake disaster, or flying a plane into the water killing 2 people, or shooting your relative with a cannon, or creating a pipe bomb that kills your grandmother, or starting a wildfire that spans so much of a fucking state in California. You know, you have all those disasters that all stem from the same thing. You're not going to stop gender reveal parties. You can only hope that they can entertain you at this point. And so far, it's been a crazy roller coaster. It's been a wild ride. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share. For some reason recently, whenever there's a wildfire somewhere in the world, I get tagged on it on Twitter constantly. It's like I'm treated like Smokey the Bear all of a sudden. And I understand where it comes from. It's because I've talked about all kinds of gender reveal party disasters, and most of those end in a wildfire that ravages the entire fucking state. And I guess since then, people just think I want to be updated on, like, every wildfire ever, even when it's, like, a totally normal one. Like, Charlie, did you hear? Lightning struck a dry bush on my farm and started a small fire that lasted 15 feet. It's like, damn, that fucking sucks, but what do you want me to do about it? Drive over there and take a hose to it? Like, you know, I'm not the park ranger. Like, if you're reporting wildfires to me, you're already fucking up. I can't, like, call in the helicopter to dump a bucket of water on it to put the kibosh on it. Like, there's nothing I can do. But, for some reason, I am getting tagged every time a wildfire is reported. But something good did come out of this constant update. I did find information on a wildfire that happened in California from a woman who was trying to purify bear urine. And I found this story to just be a ride. A wild and wacky adventure. The headline here had me asking questions I never thought I'd need to ask myself. Like, where do you even find bear urine in the wild? You know, I'm sure you could buy bear urine off eBay or Craigslist. You could probably buy gallons of bear urine there. But if you're just on a hiking trip like this woman was, how do you just source bear urine? Did she get it directly from the dick of the bear? Like, the bear just pissed into her open palms like this, so she was cupping it? And then she tried boiling it somehow, like into a pot over a fire. Like, there's just so many questions. And I don't have the answers. I'd have to ask her. Like, there's only so many ways to do it, because if a bear pisses in the woods and no one's around to hear it, you're never going to find the piss. And even if you saw a bear taking a leak, it's just going to be like on the ground, like on grass. It's going to be, you can't salvage it. It's going to be mixed with dirt, maybe even shit, grass. Like, you can't take that and boil it to drink. And why would you want to drink bear urine? I'm sure there were other places to find liquid. You know, it could have been her own urine. She could have pissed into her own hands, Bear Grylls style, and drank that. Wouldn't even need to boil it. You're just recycling your own recipe. So the headline had me boggled. I felt like I was L in Death Note, and I was trying to piece together this mystery. So obviously I was hooked. My interest peaked. So I read the story, and I don't want to show the woman or give any of her information away, but she was a hiker in the California area, and on her hike she got thirsty. She was a bit parched and found a nearby puddle to drink from. However, she noticed that there was bear urine in the puddle and decided that she wanted to boil it so she could safely drink it without drinking bear piss. This was the first plot hole in this Harry Potter novel that I noticed, because how the fuck are you going to know that there's bear piss in that puddle without you having seen the bears do the act? I don't care who you are or how talented you are at identifying urine in bodies of water, you're not going to just see pee-pee in water. It's just not going to happen. Go to any public pool, you assume that there's hundreds of gallons of strangers' urine in there, but you can't just see it to the naked, untrained eye. So there's no way she knew it was bear urine just by looking at it. I have a hypothesis. It's a working theory. I think what happened is a group of bears saw that this woman was dehydrated and decided to play a prank on her. So they're bad bears, right? They're evil. So Freddy Fazbear and the boys, they take turns peeing in this puddle. They know that she's dehydrated and this puddle is the only puddle for miles, and they're going to ruin it for her. So they're tinkling in there, and she has to watch on in horror, knowing that she's now faced with the decision to either drink bear piss or die. And then the bears, they go do something else, I guess. You know, like, there's no way you'd go up to a random puddle on your hike and be like, I'm thirsty, but I can tell a bear pissed here. Unless that bear was extremely dehydrated, and then how would you get the genesis of it? How would you know that that urine belonged to a bear? She had to have seen it, and that's a crucial detail that was left out of the reports. How did she know it was bear urine? And how would she even know there was urine in there to begin with? It must have been an extremely dehydrated creature. But anyway, so she gets the water, she wants to boil it. So she tries to start a little fire. She has a cigarette lighter, but she says she's unable to start the fire and then just decides to drink it raw. What a trooper. She just powers through it. She drinks bear piss and then goes about her hike, and then she notices smoke. So she called it in, she called the fire department. They pick her up, and it turns out it created a fire. She was successful, and it created a wildfire that spanned 8,500 acres, I believe. And she's now facing felony charges and could face up to 9 years in prison for it. So that is some expensive bear pee, if I do say so myself. Now, I did find another source that said that there was never a puddle that was mixed with bear urine. They're claiming that she found just a straight up, fucking cornucopia of bear piss that she was trying to boil in order to drink. Her main goal apparently was to hike to Canada, I suppose, but something went awry along the way. She clearly didn't accomplish that goal. She ended up starting another horrifying wildfire that spread very far. And when rescuers did find her and pick her up, she was still dehydrated. So unfortunately, that chugging of bear piss just wasn't quite enough. No essential nutrients to be had there, it seems. I've said for years now, one of the most evil companies on the planet is Disney. I imagine the board of directors is a who's who of supervillains. You probably got Mickey Mouse right next to Lucifer in that seat. It is always shocking to see just how low they'll stoop for the sake of a couple extra doubloons. They're like a real-world Umbrella Corp, but instead of manufacturing the T virus that turns people into zombies, they manufacture the D virus that turns people into Disney Defenders, where they'll always fight their PR battles for them and constantly empty their piggy bank for anything Disney slaps its fucking logo on. It's sickening, even when they are completely in the wrong. I've been following a story for the last couple days, and I imagine some of you have as well. It's a very sad story about a woman who had an allergic reaction and died after eating at a Disney Springs restaurant. And the holly jolly old assholes at Disney are arguing that because the husband signed up for a Disney Plus trial in 2019, he agreed to terms that would basically turn this lawsuit into toilet paper. To any sensible human being on the planet with a functioning frontal lobe, you're probably asking yourself, how does a Disney Plus trial at all have any grounds for this lawsuit when the allergic reaction happened at one of Disney's parks? It's not like his wife had an allergic reaction to the dog shit Disney Plus is feeding them. She passed away because of a complete failure from the restaurant. It is entirely their fault. So the couple chose to eat at a restaurant called Raglan Road Irish Pub, and they told the waiter that she had severe allergies to dairy and nuts, and she was unequivocally assured the food would be allergen free, and they chose this restaurant because it is apparently very accommodating to people with allergies. So when the order arrived, there was no allergen-free flags, so they inquired again if it was allergen-free and were once again assured that they were safe for her to consume. 45 minutes later, she had an allergic reaction. Even after administering an EpiPen, she had difficulty breathing, collapsed, and later passed away. And the husband is rightfully trying to sue Disney for this because it is a colossal fuck-up here. And Disney's just dancing on her grave. They're just spitting on her memory by trying to toss out the wrongful death lawsuit, by trying to say that the husband signed up for a Disney Plus account in 2019, which has language that prevents them from being sued in this manner. It'd have to be through arbitration, meaning it's overseen by a neutral third party and not a judge. And also, he had apparently agreed to similar terms when purchasing a park ticket online in September 2023. So this opened up a massive can of worms here about all of the sneaky, scummy shit companies sneak into their terms when you sign up for services or if you purchase things online. You know that shit that every human being on the planet skips through with agreeing to terms and conditions? Yeah, it turns out sometimes there's some really awful shit in there. I wanted to wait before talking about this because I've been talking to a lawyer about it because I was very curious if there is any legs at all for Disney to stand on here. But I just couldn't wait because I've already seen a couple of conversations about why it's entirely this couple's fault for gambling with their food allergies. The state of the world is so fucking saddening. How is it a gamble? So she was allergic to dairy and nuts, and this was made abundantly clear to the staff of a restaurant that is well known for being accommodating to allergies. Apparently this restaurant has a commitment to being very conscious of allergens. So they chose this restaurant for that reason and made it very clear multiple times that dairy and nuts were a problem. And they were assured multiple times that the food they had ordered was not going to pose any problems for that allergy. They did everything they could. That's not gambling, you absolute Cro-Magnon that are arguing that it's actually their fault, Disney's blameless. This is what I'm talking about with the D virus. People falling over themselves to try and take bullets for Disney. It is a fuck up from the restaurant and by extension, Disney. I know they have more money than God, but even still, this is such an outrageous claim to be making because signing up for a Disney Plus trial should have no effect on what happens at a Disney park. That's not related at all. It shouldn't extend to that. Just imagine if that was normal. Let's say you're on a Boeing flight and all the screws on the flight all of a sudden just spontaneously pop off like a water balloon exploding, and all of a sudden your plane just disassembles itself in the air and you die. Everyone dies on board because the Boeing flight malfunctions, as Boeing flights are known to do these days. Well, what if Boeing said, that's a real shame about that, but, we can't be held liable for this because every single one of them, when purchasing their tickets online, agreed that no matter what happens, it's going to have to go to arbitration. So, sorry about that, but really condolences. I am super confident that wouldn't work. You can't just have this blanket statement of, whatever happens, not our fault, and you agreed to it. See, you said right here, doesn't matter, you're fucked. Like, that can't work. And from what I've heard from a couple of lawyers that have talked about it online, as well as a couple conversations I've had, this doesn't really protect Disney, but this has become so common in contracts as a way of trying to weasel big corporations out of liability. But it's still scary because it does give them some leverage to fight on. It gives them an angle, and with the amount of money they can pour into defending themselves, it's going to make it very hard for normal people to fight back. even when Disney is 100% responsible for the tragedy that occurred. But at least Disney's very apologetic here. We're deeply saddened by the family's loss and understand their grief. Given that this restaurant is neither owned nor operated by Disney, we are merely defending ourselves against the plaintiff's attorney's attempt to include us in their lawsuit against the restaurant. They're fundamentally going, oh, we don't know those guys. They just use our land. We're kind of just like a landlord. We are not associated with those scoundrels over there at all. No, not us. Nope. You're coming after the wrong guy, bub. Go after them. Not our fault. And if you do want to go after us, you can't really because your Disney Plus free trial from 2019. Did you forget about that? Eek, sorry. Now, the lawyer representing the family called it absurd and preposterous, saying that the case is based on the incredible argument that any person who signs up for an account, even free trials that are not extended beyond the trial period, will have forever waived the right to a jury trial, which is pure insanity. And they also argue that Mr. Piccolo, the husband, agreed to the terms of use for himself. But he's now acting on behalf of his late wife, who never agreed to the terms, which I think is a really strong point. I think the lawyer is right here. His wife never signed up for the Disney Plus trial, thus she shouldn't be subjected to the fucking shackle and chains that apparently every Disney Plus subscriber is now succumbed to. The lawyer then goes on to say, the notion that terms agreed to by a consumer when creating a Disney Plus free trial account would forever bar that consumer's right to a jury trial in any dispute with any Disney affiliate or subsidiary is so outrageously unreasonable and unfair as to shock the judicial conscience. It really is exceptionally evil, and from what I've read here, it's not exclusive to Disney. So apparently there was even a time where they were going to get close to protecting consumers from this kind of shit with like these arbitration clauses that get snuck into contracts that you sign up for unknowingly, because it is unreasonable to expect anyone to read all 65 pages of every terms and condition for every service you sign up for. There's no human being on the planet that has the chutzpah to sit through and read all of that. But apparently that ruling that was going to protect consumers got fucked in Congress. So it's just, corporations really do operate on a different level than everything and everyone else. So no matter how much they are pushed to stop this shady shit, they can always pay their way out of it so it never actually sees the light of day and they can continue to do the scummiest things. Another quote here is, most of the companies in the U.S. require mandatory arbitration and allows them to, by and large, cut off much relief. Companies love it, but individuals who are harmed by these corporations really don't have any access to any form that would give them relief, as that's a real problem. It just limits consumers' options. It protects companies by fucking consumers in the face. The Supreme Court's view is, if you don't like it, don't sign it. Which is a super easy position to have for all the troglodytes in Supreme Court, because they're so ancient and archaic that these geriatric fossils don't sign up for anything or any service because they don't even know what a goddamn computer is. They're still learning about that mystical, magical thing called the cyberspace and the internet. So they don't even know what the fuck this is. All they need to know is what the corporations tell them they need to know. But every normal person in the world all has different services that they have to sign up for. I'm not talking about just like entertainment services. Like, no one needs to have like a Netflix account or anything, or Epic Games account or something. But even just like, I remember 10 years ago when I was in my apartment, there was an online sign up I had to do that had pages upon pages upon pages of terms and conditions. And I didn't read through all of them. I feel like most people don't read through all of them. Banking online, all types of services that are literally required for most normal people all have tons and tons of terms and conditions, and they are probably sneaking in some truly heinous shit. And this story right here helps shine a light on some of it and how unreasonable it is. And the Supreme Court saying if you don't like it, don't sign up for it is just, that's not realistic. It's just not at all. But yeah, there's a dangerous trend that's only been getting more popular over the last few years. It's far more dangerous than eating Tide Pods or even giving yourself a bleach enema. I'm talking, of course, about gender reveal parties. As I mentioned last month, there was yet another wildfire caused by a gender reveal party gone awry, where they basically burned down all of California and sent California straight to the fucking shadow realm. Also, just a quick follow-up to that story. In the video I made talking about it, I looked into my crystal ball and predicted that it was likely a boy. I went full Nostradamus and accurately called it because it was indeed a boy, Wish nothing for the best for him going forward, and hopefully he can live up to his parents' legacy and even beat their world record for wildfires. Godspeed to ya. But anyway, you'd think an event like that would be a wake-up call to the other fucking idiots that think extreme gender reveal party stunts are a good idea, but it wasn't. Gender reveal parties are still going strong now more than ever, and really I think it just kind of gave them a goal to strive for to beat that wildfire record. I wouldn't be surprised if Elon Musk, to reveal his next baby's gender, sends one of his rockets into space to redirect an asteroid towards Earth but paint it pink or blue to reveal the gender to everyone on the planet. If I was running for president, one of the first things I would do is I would make gender reveal parties classified as an act of terrorism just to completely stop this fucking dumbass trend. Let me go ahead and show you a actual harmless gender reveal party that I came across today. This is actually like a whole category of its own for gender reveal parties. It's a gender reveal baby boxing match. It's a no-holds-barred fight to the death where the last one standing is the gender of the upcoming baby. And it looks like something right out of Rugrats. Like that baby in the background there looks like Big Baby from that Rugrats episode that looked like a horrifying Lovecraftian monster. The audience is expecting a cute little playful fight, but what they don't realize is it's Conor McGregor wearing that big baby mascot costume, and he's already 15 beers deep, so he's showing no mercy. He's coming out here to break jaws and break the news. Unfortunately, the referee had to step in and call an immediate stoppage to the first round because it was getting a little out of control. Baby boy was absolutely letting loose with that combination he was going for right there. Baby girl was just playing it real slow, little play fighting, but baby boy came out with like fucking furious jabs. Whoever's in that costume did not get the memo that it was supposed to just be playing around because he was doing this shit like it was Rock'em Sock'em Robots and one of the robots owed him money. He was going to try and like blast their fucking head off. And I just wish the audience was a little more into it. I wanted to hear like Team Baby Boy going wild, yeah, baby boy, fuck yeah, and then Team Baby Girl, give him the old dick twist. I wanted to see blood and teeth flying all over the place. When the smoke had cleared, I wanted the last one standing to really earn it. But unfortunately, the referee wasn't letting it get too wild, even though Baby Boy was absolutely brutalizing her in the first round.
Big knockout, big knockout. Big hit, big hit.
And in an absolutely one-sided slaughter, Baby Boy comes out victorious, and they let the pyrotechnics team take over with the blue smoke, of course. And, you know, real thrilling match. And I gotta say, I don't even know the family, but I was so excited and so happy for them to see that I was a baby boy. Like, what a huge deal. And I said this is a whole category in and of itself because it is. Apparently these baby girl, baby boy boxing match costumes are huge for gender reveals because I saw like 10 videos all in this same category. But I thought this one was just the most official looking one. And luckily here it doesn't seem like, you know, anyone was hurt and at least nothing was set on fire. But maybe after the video ended, they got out the flamethrower and lit baby girl on fire and then burned down the house behind them and just let the whole neighborhood get incinerated. That's possible, but at least for the video here, it seems pretty harmless. But even still, I'm gonna be the Grinch here and steal Christmas. Nobody fucking cares about your gender reveal parties. No one cares about the gender of your baby. Your closest friends, your closest family members, they can pretend, but you know they don't give a fuck. It's a dumb tradition, it's stupid, nobody fucking cares. Especially not the internet. No matter how many brownie points someone tries to score by saying, wow, congratulations, they don't care. So with that being said, let's go ahead and check out another new gender reveal party. Not quite as fun as the boxing match, but at least it's innovative. This is some Fast and Furious type shit right here. This is like how Dominic Toretto would reveal the gender of his upcoming child. But this is one of the ugliest cars I think I've ever seen. It looks like a septic tank on wheels. And then they painted a little mouth on the side of the car that looks like something only an 8-year-old obsessed with Hot Wheels would think is cool. It's the equivalent of painting flames on your Segway scooter, or placing a skull decal on a golf cart. I don't know how you take a car like this out on the road without feeling some level of shame or embarrassment, unless maybe this car is only used for gender reveal burnouts in a backyard, so at least not many people have to see it. And there's the classic finale, setting the backyard on fire. It's not a gender reveal party without a fire breaking out. And I can only hope that the mother of this child doesn't miscarry due to the smoke inhalation here, and I'm sure the neighbors here absolutely love this. They're probably pumping their fists right now, they got their window open, shouting congratulations, because they see the pink smoke, so they know they're having a baby girl, and they have to be so excited, because everybody loves to see that shit. It's a great tradition, really. Fantastic stuff, and I don't think enough people are aware of just how fucking hardcore gender reveal parties have become. This shit's turning into like the X Games of revealing your baby's gender. For those that don't know, a gender reveal party is when a narcissistic family gets together to throw a little celebration, to tell all their friends and family, flex on them the gender of their baby, and they do it in this grand fashion that involves incredibly dangerous stunts. And I just want to go over some of the best ones recently. People are dying at these gender reveal parties. People are getting injured. People are causing $8 million worth of destruction to the world around them just to reveal the gender of their baby. This shit is absolutely wild. These people are like Evel Knievel. Now, I know I got you semi-chubbed when I said one of them caused $8 million worth of damage, so I'll show you that one first. This is a border agent celebrating his gender reveal party by shooting this target, which explodes into a fiery chaos that damn near summons Satan to our world. Yeah, that bad boy raged on for 47,000 acres worth of incinerated shit. It actually makes me a bit curious. Perhaps the origin of the California wildfires that just fucking annihilated everything was probably the gender reveal party gone wrong. I bet like a family was getting together to reveal the baby's gender with a fucking flamethrower that shot out blue or pink flames depending on the gender, aimed at an entire fucking oil drum, and then on top of that shooting fireworks into the nearby gas station. It's just hard to believe that these are the ideas people have to like reveal their baby's gender. It doesn't make sense. Unless you're giving birth to fucking Xander Cage from Triple X, your baby's not going to be as hardcore as setting up a 47,000 acre wide wildfire. He's never going to live up to his birthright. And you can't even tell the gender because it explodes into flames so quick. It was a boy, by the way. There was some blue powder that flew off, if you could see that between the inferno. Now this next story sets the gold standard for over-the-top gender reveals. It even caused a death. So the idea was this family built a stand that was going to shoot colored smoke, blue or pink depending on the gender of the child, and they had this whole pyrotechnics display, WWE style, drawn up in their heads, but what they ended up doing was accidentally creating a pipe bomb. So when they lit the fuse, the pressure built up and it exploded the stand, sending metal pieces flying, and it struck one of the women in the head, instantly killing her. So this only served to be a really elaborate tool for assassinating a family member. In Australia, this Fast and Furious family got together to spew blue smoke out of their car to show they're having a baby boy, and then it all caught on fire. Luckily, no one was hurt in this stunt. However, I wouldn't be surprised if they went back for a round 2, a retry, and that's why Australia's on fire right now.
Ready? Come on, we're ready forever.
I know, what an amazing way of using an alligator to show that you and your sister are having a baby boy to the whole family. Everyone was so happy, so thrilled. No one more happy than the alligator. I mean, how great was it when he chomped into that little blue balloon? Oh, huge moment, and what an incredible way to show the gender of your baby. Now, the most recent gender reveal, super hardcore, extreme stunt was in Texas when a man was flying his plane and dumped pink shit and then crashed his plane. No one was hurt in the plane crash, but man, oh man, it seems like revealing your baby's gender is just like a fucking death sentence for some people, just a recipe for disaster. In a year's time, gender reveals are going to be the most extreme sport on the planet. They're going to be more dangerous than going for the water speed world record. I don't know if you guys knew this, but going for the world record for top speed on a boat is the most dangerous thing you can do and go for. It has an 85% mortality rate, and I believe it's 7 out of the last 8 people who have even tried have died going for it. It's fucking nuts, but soon gender reveals are going to be up in that ballpark too. This shit is climbing. And the interesting thing is, they all have one thing in common across the entire board. They all deal with explosives, except for the alligator guy. And I guess the plane guy, but that ended in an explosion, so it kind of counts. I don't know what it is with revealing your baby's gender and an explosion. Maybe it's just metaphorical for the rocky relationship they have, and yet they're still producing life. I don't know. I can't really dig into the symbolism, but man, these people fucking love blowing shit up to show that their baby's coming in hot. It's wild, and it's super dangerous, and I just wanted to make everyone aware of this because Well, yes, I actually did just finish playing pickup basketball on this sacred Thursday night. Thank you for asking. How did I play? Well, terribly, actually. I played horribly. I almost immediately pulled my shoulder, which at my age is very painful. And then my old man brittle bones started creaking a lot and a fly flew in my mouth. But that didn't stop me from putting on an absolute shooting nightmare. I went like 4 for 12 and 0 for 2 from the 3. It was bad. And also, the fly in my mouth paranoid me because I'm a hypochondriac. I couldn't stop imagining Ozzy and Drix inside of my body fighting against this fly in there. It wasn't my best showing. But can you stop talking about basketball so much, please? That's not what we're here for. Goodness gracious, you're a real chatty Cathy. What the fuck? What we're here to discuss is a really weird criminal I learned about on stream last night, and I've been thinking about him ever since. There's a case going around about a criminal in Essex who has done nothing but steal pacifiers from literal babies. Wait, what? Man, 23, charged with snatching dummies from babies in Essex. Dummies? You guys call pacifiers dummies? It just sounds like you're insulting your kid. Why not just call him a pacifier? A man will appear in court charged with snatching dummies out of the mouths of babies. What a cartoonishly evil plan. Does he at least sell them or something? Like, what's the motivation besides just making a baby cry? Josh Gilder was arrested on Monday on suspicion of theft from a person, robbery, and using threatening behavior to cause alarm and distress. This happened on 4 occasions, apparently. The serial pacifier robber, burglar. What does he do with them? Does he just take them out and run away, or does he take them out and put them back? Like, what does he do? Oh, here we go. We got some more information. All right. The story just took a really interesting twist. So according to her, he uses the dummy to soothe himself. So what he's doing, and this is a revolting thought, he is taking the pacifiers out of babies' mouths and then sucking on them himself. That is fucking gross. Holy shit. He said he would take the dummy and then go sit in a tent and use the dummy, describing the thefts as purely acquisition, so acquisitive. Gulder also admitted causing harassment, alarm, and distress to a police officer the day he was arrested. He told the officer, "If my stuff gets broken, I swear I'll kill you." He denied 3 charges of assault relating to 3 of the 5 children who he took dummies from. Still shouldn't be stealing them from babies. Bit of a hot take there from me, but, I'll say it with my chest. Stealing from a baby is... well, that's pretty low. I'm just gonna say, he's a jerk. He's a bit of a jerk. When police were initially looking for this guy, they released this photo hoping that someone recognized him, when it's just a photo of someone's back with a hoodie on. But I guess it worked out in the end because they did apprehend him. He was taking candy from literal babies, pretty much, and they eventually did arrest him for it. But I really like the idea that someone sees this and they're like, "Oh my god, that hoodie! wait a minute, that frame. I know exactly who that is. That's my buddy Josh. And who knows, maybe that's exactly how it happened. But yeah, they did apprehend him, and the whole story is very baffling. That's a odd crime, for sure. But I want to give you a little bonus crime that I learned about on stream last night. Actually, you know what? I'll give you two, because we went down a little bit of a rabbit hole with weird crimes. So this next one is about a serial mannequin pisser who's still on the loose, so beware of any mannequins. They might be marked with urine somewhere out there. So just sleep with one eye open. I work at Target, and one day we found that somebody had peed on a mannequin. Turns out he'd been hitting other Targets in Minnesota and peeing on mannequins. The guy has not yet been caught. Don't worry, I'm on the case. I just looked up urinating on mannequins, and the first thing that came up was a Wikipedia page called Mannequin Piss. Is this him? Does he have his own Wikipedia page? And here's a urinating mannequin, which is an art piece. I think I found the culprit for your phantom pisser that keeps coming in and urinating on the mannequins. I think it's this guy. Got him. And this next criminal is not some unknown menace. This is actually a very well-known criminal. Burger King. And the crime, horrible food. But this time around, what they were guilty of is a promotional marketing campaign that led to the death of a few children, infants, during their Pokemon promotion of 1999. I don't know how many of you knew this, but I was completely unaware that this ever happened, so I learned about it on stream last night, and I thought this was a really weird thing that happened back then that I haven't really heard too many people talk about. Have you heard about the Pokemon ball toy that killed a bunch of kids? What? Reflecting on the Burger King Pokemon disaster of 1999. What? I've never heard of this. Some of the most iconic toys of the 90s showed up on greasy trays across the country, but perhaps the biggest frenzy arrived with a series of Pokemon collectibles from Burger King at the turn of the millennium. Pokemania hit a fever pitch in 1999, and the frenzy had a body count. Time magazine helped introduce the Japanese imported phenomenon known as Pokemon to the mainstream. Okay. At the very center of their page, a space normally occupied by heads of state, religious leaders, and business magnates, Poliwhirl leaped out at the reader. I actually vaguely remember this cover. While parents, journalists, and psychologists were mulling the attitudinal impacts of the fad, a far more banal Poke danger was emerging. On December 11th, 1999, 13-month-old Kira suffocated to death in Northern California. A Pokemon toy from a Burger King kids meal was believed to be the cause. The company had begun a massive Pokemon promotion in connection with the Pokemon the First movie, which debuted on November 10th. The 56-day promotion, one of the largest in history, was intended to run from early November to end of December. The kids meal prize during that 2-month period was one of 57 different Pokemon toys. Making the promotion all the more exciting was the fact that the toys were encapsulated within the immediately familiar red and white orb of a Pokeball. Burger King had plans to distribute over 25 million toys in this clever format for free with any kids meal purchased.
Enjoy.
She's even in body armor. They knew this was dangerous. That's a huge promo. Did they have all 151? How? Damn, Burger King used to go hard. As far as Kira's death was concerned, the toy itself, as it turned out, wasn't the problem. She died after one half of the plastic Pokeball, measuring just under 3 inches in diameter, became attached to her face. She had somehow gotten it stuck over her nose and mouth, forming an airtight seal. Holy shit. Her mother took a shower for about 20 minutes, and when she emerged, her daughter was dead. Spokesperson for Equity Marketing, the toy maker that had partnered with Burger King, would later state that the toy meets or exceeds all federal safety guidelines, and Charles Nicholas, a spokesperson for Burger King, argued it was not concluded that the ball was the cause. I mean, it seems like a completely freak incident, but I mean, the ball was literally the cause. But it's not the design's fault, I don't think, right? Like that's truly a freak thing, from the sound of it. 10 days later, on December 23rd, it happened again. An 18-month-old girl in Kansas almost suffocated. By the time her father pried the half of a Pokeball from her face, the girl's lips had turned blue. When we found out about the first death, there was a realization that this could be a huge national concern. This was the worst case scenario. A major fast food chain, not just a toy store, distributing these toys by the millions. How is it happening though? It doesn't look like that'd be a really easy situation to find yourself in. And also, who's letting 13-month-old and 18-month-old babies eat Burger King alone? Also, what do they eat from Burger King? Aren't you still basically on mush? Maybe not at 18 months, but 13 months? When do you stop having, like, mush? When's the cutoff period? Why is every major fast food controversy about Burger King? Because Burger King it's actually a scourge. Burger King needs to just be shut down. They make the worst fucking food imaginable. Burger King have come around now, but we did have to push them. Oh, they have a recall commercial. It was such a different time back then. They had to make another advertisement in order to advertise the recall. Nowadays, they'll just make a tweet, be like, hey, we're sorry we killed some kids. Like, what more is there to say? We're sorry. Like every game dev that comes out right now when they release a pile of shit. January 25th, 2000, a month after the recall began, 4-month-old Zachary Jones was found dead in his crib in Indianapolis, Indiana. He too had been suffocated by a Pokeball. It's hard to believe that you go to get the kids something to eat, you bring home a lethal toy. How is a 4-month-old eating Burger King? And unmonitored by their parents? Now, of course, there clearly is something wrong with the design here, I think. Maybe the pictures aren't doing it justice for what the Pokeball actually looks like. But what the fuck? This is a 4-month-old with Burger King? And no supervision? Holy shit, that's a recipe for disaster even if it wasn't Burger King lethal Pokeballs. Are they just clipping it around their nose like a pin? So from the way it describes it, it seems like what was happening is the baby would be playing with the Pokeball and the half would get caught on its face. Like a fighter pilot, basically. Hey, what's up? It's Tank Top Charlie here again, climbing down your chimney to take a shit in your living room. I haven't showered since yesterday, so I'm still wearing the tank top from my pole dancing course that I took. And I just got really excited. I was actually about to take a shower before making this video, but I read something that just got me giddy, and I wanted to share it with all of you. It's a topic that's near and dear to my boners. I'm talking about gender reveal party disasters. I've covered a lot of these over the last year, and you may remember in 2020 there was the massive El Dorado wildfire, which actually killed a firefighter, which was started by a couple doing a gender reveal party where the pyrotechnics display went wrong and just fucking lit the entire area on fire, scorched it, brought hell on earth like Doom. And it was all because they wanted to show the world that they were having a boy. They wanted to do it like a WWE introduction, fucking firing off all kinds of shit, and they absolutely incinerated a good, 22,000 acres or something like that. Today, the follow-up to that story, we're in the goddamn season 2 of that anime. The couple has been found. They are on trial now, facing up to 20 years in jail. And I couldn't be happier. This couple is not only having a baby, they're having a fucking world record for criminal charges. They're catching them all like Pokemon. They're facing 30 criminal charges, including involuntary manslaughter for the death of that firefighter who died battling it. And they're also facing a multitude of other ones. The jury was presented with 434 pieces of evidence. 434 exhibits. That's like as much as the fucking Smithsonian Museum. They have as many exhibits as like One Piece does episodes in a single season. It's crazy. And it's great. I am super excited. The next stage of the trial will begin in September. For now, though, they've been released under their own recognizance until WrestleMania picks up again in September at the SmackDown in court. I'm not an expert in law, as you might imagine. I fucking throw around rubber vaginas, play with fleshlights, and turn 3-foot Moby huge dildos into rideable go-karts. So I'm not exactly what you'd consider an ace attorney, but I can pretend to be, because I looked it up on Google. So them being released under their own recognizance means that right now, they're fucking free. They're out there roaming the streets. They could be anywhere. They could be anybody. They could have gotten plastic surgery or like a Mission Impossible mask and assumed a new identity. They could be anywhere, at any time. They could even be you. Or your neighbor. Maybe even your parents. Hope not, but you never know. Also, real quick, they pled not guilty. So, I guess we'll see how this one plays out. We could all be wrong. And maybe that fire was make-believe or they've been framed for it. Maybe there's some kind of underground syndicate that goes around throwing gender reveal parties and framing innocent couples for it? I'm not really sure. Obviously, I don't think the not guilty verdict is even a possibility here. That's going to be one of the... I don't understand law super well, but most people, I would imagine, plead not guilty and then trying to do like some kind of deal or something. I'm not sure. But I just really like the idea that this couple has no fucking idea what anyone's talking about. They're just clueless, just stomping their feet on the ground. Wait, what in tarnation? Gender reveal party? We're not even having a baby. What are you all going on about? We would never take a flamethrower to a California forest to reveal our baby's gender. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't sound like us. No, not guilty, obviously. And who's to say they won't double down and try and Jimmy Neutron together another fucking awful smoke device for a gender reveal party and light another part of California on fire? You know, I think this is dangerous. I don't think they should be out there. I think the 20-year sentence should just start now. With that much overwhelming evidence, I think it's really just a matter of what they decide to stick on them. Fucking pin the tail on these two dumb donkeys. Like, I really think, you know, maybe it's just not the best idea, because right now they're hungry. They didn't get to finish their gender reveal party. The smoke never even went off. They didn't get to show their relatives the gender of the baby they're having. So that mission is still incomplete, and they're probably thirsting for it. Yeah, they've already had the baby now since it's been a year, but it doesn't matter. That doesn't count because there wasn't colored smoke to indicate the gender of that baby. So they might just go out there in Dexter's lab another device that doesn't work and just blows up California, you know? I just think it's risky. I really do. I know there's some people, and this is surprising, that thought that this was too harsh because the defense is that they were just stupid and they didn't mean to. It was an accident. I don't think that's a defense at all. I don't think that justifies anything. If you're dangerously stupid like these people are, you shouldn't have that freedom to go out there and do this shit. 100%. You are stupid to an actual villain-like level. You are so dumb that you become a fucking threat. So I really think 20 years sounds about par for the course here. Yeah, I don't think they set out there to burn down California, but they're so fucking dumb that it happened anyway, which means they are a danger to themselves and everyone around them. And I think that absolutely warrants a 20-year sentence at least. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because this is really the first major one where I've seen that they're facing some real huge repercussions for this shit. Gender reveal parties, I've said, are like modern terrorism, and now we're finally seeing someone getting punished for this. I really hope this doesn't have an unsatisfying conclusion where they only get like 2 years in jail because it was an accident, and just have like this really fucking wet fart of an ending like half of the anime that comes out these days. I'm hoping this really sticks the landing